Hi, I'm Doris Purchase, and welcome to Beyond the Frame, a podcast created just for you by Propeller Art Gallery, artists empowering artists in Toronto. Together, we'll take a deep dive into the hearts and minds of working visual artists today and their practice. In each episode, you will hear illuminating and intimate explorations of all things art, and you'll hear it in the artist's own voice. We'll talk process, inspiration, challenges, and much more. Everything you've ever wanted to know about art making or about the artists themselves happens right here. So let's sit back and have a listen, shall we? Today we welcome Par Nair. Which ism is it? Under which ism would you classify your work?
I started as a portrait painter, leaning toward realism, but as of late, my oil paintings have taken on this hybrid form, combining elements of realism with abstraction, self-portraiture, expressionism, pointillism, and South Asian-inspired patterning. I've even started to work beyond the canvas with performative film, incorporating various light mixing techniques with digital projections. So to answer your question, I would say my work is a hybrid of many isms.
Who's your muse? Influencers, educators, mentors, who has greatly inspired you?
I find inspiration in books, in my peers and profs at OCAD-U, and in people and experiences that surround me. Some of the writers that have inspired me are Ocean Wong, Alicia Elliott, Sarah Ahmed, Bell Hooks, and Julietta Singh. I love makers like Rajni Pereira, Salman Tour, Ayumi Gado, Divya Mehra, and Julius Manipal.
Materials matter. What are your chosen favorite tools and preferred medium?
My first love will always be oil painting. It is where I have found the most joy. That being said, I have been trying to push myself out of my comfort zone to work more digitally. I've been testing out AR, performative film, and photography. And it really has been an exciting learning process because it's a new form of storytelling altogether, so it's great. The way I'm working with film has changed how I shoot things too now. Using light mixing techniques, it's changed everything. But yes, oil painting will always be my favorite medium, and oil paint's my favorite tool.
Slump Secrets. What methods do you employ to get yourself out of a slump?
I dread artist blocks, and to be honest, the only way to really get out of one, for me, is to force myself to make. You could also watch or read something that might inspire you. I also find just talking to other artists, talking to your peers, or even looking at what artists are making can be helpful to get out of a block.
In the beginning. So tell me a bit about your process. Do you have a bag of tricks, lucky talismans, or habits? Where do you start? And more importantly, when do you stop?
I start my day with a coffee and a phone call to my mom, who is my number one fan. She hypes me up for the day ahead of me. And I stop whenever it feels right. Sometimes I'm painting for an hour and then working on writing for the rest of the day. And at other times, I will paint for 3 days straight. So it really depends on the piece. I'm definitely a fan of letting my piece dictate where it wants to go.
Calling all emo. What do you wish people to think or feel when they contemplate your work?
I hope my work instills in people a visceral response. Oftentimes, I use colors like red, blue, and bright yellows that I hope will evoke strong emotions to my pieces. My current work is a play on the expectations and translations of racialized and migrant bodies, and I see my work as a call for safe spaces of communal healing.
The struggle is real. Talk to me about your biggest challenges as an artist. What methods do you use to overcome these challenges?
I think my biggest challenge as a painter has been space and storage. My walls are covered with my paintings. They are slowly but surely taking over my apartment. To combat this, I have started to make more digital works, experimental film, and also performative works that can just live on my computer.
Picture perfect. In your opinion, what constitutes a perfect piece of art? And what qualities in your own work would you signify as a perfect work? For example, perfect composition, confident brushstrokes illustrating a concept, or something else altogether.
I think if the work comes from an honest place, it will have a considerable impact, not only on the viewer, but on yourself. And I don't think anything can beat that. If you're making things that excite you, that's picture perfect.
Art Speak. How do you feel about titling, discussing, and explaining your work?
I used to find it difficult to talk about my work because I was convinced that my work could speak for itself. But I'm realizing now that art speak is important because it leads to new conversations, new ideas, new friendships, and discovery. So for me, it is absolutely crucial to be able to speak about my work to people who are willing to listen.
Heavy metal or classical? What do you listen to while you work? Or is silence your thing?
Silence is definitely not my thing. I like to have music on with maybe a podcast on at the same time, or even a movie or a show. I definitely love having multiple things on and playing all at once as I'm making. On my current playlist are a lot of songs by Homeshake, some Jerry Paper, and a bit of Alexandria Xavier and Mac DeMarco.
Why for art, thou? Why do you make art?
I couldn't imagine doing anything else, to be honest. I feel strongly that art saved me and continues to give meaning to my life. I wake up every day excited to make and to learn something new. I would be lost without it. Especially painting, for me, is stunningly healing, and I'm very fortunate to be able to do what I love every day.
We hope you've enjoyed this episode of Beyond the Frame, a PAG podcast. To hear more episodes and to view the artist's works, please visit www.propellerartgallery.ca. Hosted by Doris Purchase, produced by Tracy Thomson, and recorded at the Orange Lounge Studio in Toronto. Also, the Propeller Art Gallery recognizes the presence of the Haudenosaunee, Anishinaabe, Mississaugas of the Credit, and the Huron-Wendat nations. We acknowledge we are hosted on land governed by Treaty 13, the Toronto Purchase, the Two-Row Wampum Treaty, and the Dish with One Spoon Treaty. We are committed to peaceably sharing and caring for the resources around the Great Lakes and operating the gallery on the principles of inclusiveness as we continue to exhibit art created by artists from all over the world. Thank you for listening.